We are live. Hello, you guys. Welcome back to another episode of Readings by Candlelight. I am your host, Keith Garcia of Man of Letters, bringing of knowledge, information, and a bit of entertainment. Interview with the Devil. We're reading Interview with the Devil this time, you guys. Part 2. Let me give you a little explanation of what's going on. This is taken from a book called Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. Inside of Outwitting the Devil, there is a section called Interview with the Devil. This is where he actually interviews the devil. So that's what I'm reading, not the whole book. Kind of confusing, but that's what's happening. So, welcome if you guys are new. Subscribe to the channel. I try to go at least twice a week with the readings by Candlelight, plus some other goodies and things like that. Occult and really big on hermetics here and emerald tablets and the Kabbalion and just mad of letters sorts of things. So thank you. I appreciate it. Special shout out to the people who have been following the channel for a while now. Your support is appreciated more than you realize. A special thank you to John Smith, who's putting in a bunch of work right now, creating and helping me create a whole lot of things right now. John Smith, you the real MVP behind the scenes. He said it himself in an email to me, actually. He said something along the lines of, no one man can do something on this scale by himself. And you were damn right. It's really hard to do all of this and do it well by myself. So thank you guys. Moving on. Sweet, you guys. Roll yourself up some oregano. Pour yourself a glass of wine or water. Boil some lavender tea. Go pick some rosemary in the backyard. Do whatever it is you do to get comfy. Welcome to another episode of Readings by Candlelight. Thank you so much for being here. Happy Sunday evening. Happy Sunday evening. This is a actual Gandalf pipe. And I love it. Brand new. Still breaking it in. Oregano. This is oregano, you guys. Oregano. What was I saying? I can't remember what I was saying. Oh, as per usual, you guys, I wait about 10 minutes or so before I start the live just to give people a chance to trickle in. I'm going to be releasing these videos podcast style on iTunes, wherever else. So those of you guys who are listening when it's not live, what's up? Thank you for your patience. Hang tight. This is a great time for you to do whatever you need to do in the meantime. Maybe you're driving in a car. You could hit the little button that skips by 15 seconds until we start. Or you could just kick it with the squad. Or you could subscribe to the YouTube channel and make sure you catch them live with the rest of us. Because it's real comfy in here. Ooh, let me pull up the actual YouTube page so I can read you guys' comments if you're in the room. Hope you guys are enjoying yourselves, by the way. I really do. Really hope you guys are enjoying the end of your Sunday. The end of your weekend. All right. Cool. We got 4 people in the room so far. How are you guys doing? Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out with us. Let me know if there's weird things going on during this, if the audio starts to cut out, if the music is too loud, If we have some clipping going on, I am, like I said, a one-man army when I'm shooting these videos and podcasts and things like that. So it's kind of tough to get a hold of everything at once. Alchemy of Life, what it do, my dude? Nice to see you. Scarlet Red, hello, hello. Rose Orchard. Hola, ¿cómo estás, Rose Orchard? I decided to hit with the with some Nylon's jazz to hold it down, because the devil somehow seemed to slip into a southern plantation owner accent. Not to say that all southern plantation owners are the devil, but I don't know. Hollywood, man, Hollywood planted the seed, so I'm just gonna grow it out and see what happens. Um, I'm trying to light my frankincense resin right now. What do you guys think I should light? Should I light the frankincense resin, or should I light the dragon's blood, the white cope? I think that's all I have right now. I have some pinyon pine from Utah. Ooh, by the way, another note on this. Napoleon Hill was actually known for a book called, not known, but was famous because of a book called Think and Grow Rich, which is a manual on how to use your mind to get rich. The interesting thing, what I loved about it so much, is that it contained a massive amount of occult knowledge. Things like the ability to impress upon reality your mind, and that reality itself is this sort of malleable and thing that can be impressioned upon as easily as your mind, and focus and attention and willpower. And I think he was into some shit. And at the time when I first read that, I didn't actually realize he had created this work called Interview with the Devil, where he clearly is going deeper into some occult shit, which is why Man of Letters picked it up. So that's what's interesting about this reading, and I've actually never read this before. So I'm trying to find it out as we go. And Walt Disney for sure. Yeah, frankincense. I usually roll with the frankincense. Any of you guys burn with coal burners out there like this? I was a late bloomer. I only started a couple months ago, but I have been addicted. It's pretty fucking. Just what I always say is, when it comes to magic, right? Comes to magic. The more senses you can involve in a process, the the more view that you can involve in a process, the more definition you're going to bring out of that thing. The stronger of a container that you're going to create. And so, I could just light a candle for smell, which is more than most, right? Most people just turn on a fucking light. Well, you could light a candle, which gives a glow and it flickers, so it gives a certain feel. You know what I mean? You have the fire, you have the smell, you have the touch. Incense is the same way. You got your coal, you light the coal on fire. Coal takes about 10 minutes to get going, and then you have some resin that you straight scraped off of a tree, like the OGs did it back 1,000, 2, 3, 4,000 years ago. Drop on it, incense gets released into the heavens. Like, it doesn't get more fucking magical than that. So that's on magic, in case you guys are wondering. Law of Attraction, Ralph Smart. Kind of get a hello there. All right, you guys who are in the room, sorry for the delay. Just one more minute. Can anyone tell me how long we've been running this video so far, so that I can know when to start it? Also, How's the audio? Is the voice clipping? Is it too loud? Do we have the music going too loud? 1 second. Sorry, you guys. Sorry, you guys. There we go. There we go. That should be a little better. $10 audio fine. Perfect. Thank you, Maxwell. Appreciate that. Hey, Johnny Ray. This is an interesting one. If you guys have made it this long in the video, if my podcasters are still plugged in, my live audience, thank you for holding it the fuck down. This next one is, I read the first paragraph and it sounds really interesting. It's called, ooh, I just typed in New Orleans jazz into YouTube and it pulled up like an hour and a half video. So if you want to listen to it yourself on the other end, then by all means tap in. It's called The Drifters. And it's, oh man, it's good. My impression, so I'm not going to talk too much. I'll say this and then I'll start the audiobook. So far, I've got the impression that the drifters, talks about drifters, are people who just wander. And my first thought is, how many concepts of the spiritual, quote unquote, spiritual world, with all the spiritual gurus and new age movements and whatnot, how many of them exist inside of this sort of echo chamber where they're only saying things because all the other gurus said them, not because they actually thought about it themselves, turning it into a somewhat of spiritual dogma, which is exactly what we're trying to avoid when we get to the quote unquote spiritual path. And it introduces this idea so far of the wanderer, which is someone that doesn't have a very definitive goal, a definitive direction, someone who just kind of goes along with the way things are going. Think of something that drifts out at sea. It literally goes with the current. Wherever the current is going, it is going. It has no volition of its own. It has no goal of its own. It's just completely passive and laissez-faire, as the French would say. And that's something that the spiritual world hypes up all the time. Just go with the flow, be passive. What's some of the huge things that I heard personally myself was, oh, just let go. Like, just always telling you to let go, always let go, always let go, always let go, and let go, let God. Jesus, take the wheel. And like most things, like I said, I'll start this audiobook. Let me finish this. I'll wrap this up. Like most things, life requires balance. Yes, sometimes you got to let go. But do you let go all the fucking time? Absolutely not. Sometimes you got to take the reins, make a goal, and fucking hit it regardless of the current or regardless of the tide. Do you have to do that every time? Probably not. No, because you can't be constantly trying to force shit, right? Because that's also not good. It's a give and it's a get. It's a push and it's a pull. It's a rhythm, right? We learned that in the Kabbalion. We learned that it's a rhythm. It's a dance, forward and back, up and down, light, dark, passive, active. That's it. Cool. So I just thought that would be worth noting because it was the first thing that stood out in my mind. So we're gonna hear the devil's. We're gonna hear the devil's take. I've been trying to work on my southern accent. It's tough. Actually, I take that back. I haven't tried at all. I feel in my head I've been working at it, but I don't know if it counts just practicing in my head. Anywho, bear with me. Ooh, actually, I gotta light my frankincense. All right. Ladies and gents, Damn, look at you guys up here chopping it up in the room. Nice, I like it. Um, okay, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Welcome back to another episode of Readings by Candlelight. This segment here is a little piece called Interview with the Devil, written by Napoleon Hill. The second chapter of the installment, read by your host Keith Garcia of Man of Letters. Smoke with oregano. Don't do drugs, kids. That's the devil's letters. We don't like the devil. Hell, we ain't even like letters. And we begin. Chapter 2, Drifting with the Devil. Okay, tell me first, I guess, about your most clever trick. The one you used to ensnare the greatest number of people. If you force me to give away this secret, it will mean my loss of millions of people now living and still greater numbers of millions as yet unborn. I beg if you permit me to pass this one question unanswered. So let me get this straight. The Majesty, His Majesty, the devil, fears a mere humble earthbound creature. Is that right? It is not right, but it is true. You have no right to rob me of my most necessary tool of trade. For millions of years, I have dominated earthbound creatures through fear and ignorance. Now you come along and would destroy my use of these weapons by forcing me to tell how I use them. Do you not realize that you will break my grip on every person who heeds this confession you are forcing from me? Have you no mercy? Have you no sense of humor? Have you no sportsmanship? Stop stalling and start confessing. Who are you to ask mercy of one whom you would destroy if you could? Who are you to talk of sportsmanship and sense of humor? You who by your own confession have set up a living hell on earth, where you punish innocent people through their fears and ignorance. As for minding my own business, that is just what I am doing when I force you to tell how you control people through their own minds. My business, if it can be called a business, is helping to unlock the doors of the self-made prisons in which men and women are confined because of the fears you have planted in their minds. My greatest weapon over human beings consists of two secret principles by which I gain control of their minds. I will speak first of the principle of habit, through which I silently enter the minds of people. By operating through this principle, I establish, I wish I could avoid using this word, the habit of drifting. When a person begins to drift on any subject, he is headed straight toward the gates of what you earthbound call hell. Describe all the ways in which you induce people to drift. Define the word, and tell us exactly what you mean by it. Well, I can best define the word drift by saying that people who think for themselves never drift, while those who do little or no thinking for themselves are drifters. The drifter is one who permits himself to be influenced and controlled by circumstances outside of his own mind. He would rather let me occupy his mind and do his thinking than go to the trouble of thinking for himself. The drifter is one who accepts whatever life throws in his way without making a protest or putting up a fight. He doesn't know what he wants from life and spends all of his time getting just that. The drifter has lots of opinions, but they are not his own. Most of them are supplied by me. Drifter is one who is too lazy mentally to use his own brain. That is the reason I can that is the reason I can take control of people's thinking and plant my own ideas in their minds. I think I understand what a drifter is. Tell me the exact habits of people by which you induce them to drift through life. Start by telling me when and how you first gain control of a person's mind. My control over the mind of a human being is obtained while the person is young. Sometimes I lay the foundation for my control over mind before the owner of it is born by manipulating the minds of that person's parents. Sometimes I go further back than this and prepare people for my control through what you earthbound called physical heredity. You see, therefore, I have two approaches to the mind of a person. Yes, go on and describe these two doors by which you enter and control the minds of human beings. Well, as I have stated, I help to bring people into your world with weak brains by giving to them before birth as many as possible of the weaknesses of their ancestors. You call this principle physical heredity. After people are born, I make use of what you earthbound called environment as a means of controlling them. This is where the principle of habit enters. The mind is nothing more than the sum total of one's habits. One by one, I enter the mind and establish habits, which lead finally to my absolute domination of the mind. Tell me of your most common habits by which you control the minds of people. This is one of my cleverest tricks. I enter the minds of people through thoughts which they believe to be their own. Those most useful to me are fear, superstition, avarice, greed, lust, revenge, anger, vanity, and plain laziness. Through one or more of these, I can enter any mind at any age. But I get my best results when I take charge of a mind while it is young, before its owner has learned how to close any of these nine doors. Then I can set up habits which keep the doors ajar forever. I'm catching on to your methods. Now, let us go back to the habit of drifting. Tell us all about that habit since you say it is your cleverest trick in controlling the minds of people. Well, as I said before, I stop people drifting during their youth. I induce them to drift through school without knowing what occupation they wish to follow in life. Here I catch the majority of people. Habits are related. Drift in one direction, and soon you will be drifting in all directions. I also use environmental habits to give me a definite grip on my victims. I see you make it your business to train children in the habit of drifting by inducing them to go through school without aim or purpose. Hmm. Now, tell me of some of your other tricks with which you cause people to become drifters. Well, my second best trick in developing the habit of drifting is one that I put into operation with the aid of parents and public school teachers and religious instructors. I warn you not to force me to mention this trick. Do not disclose this trick. If you do so, you will be hated by my coworkers who helped me use this trick. If you publish this confession in book form, your book will be barred from the public schools. It will be blacklisted by most of the religious leaders. It will be hidden from children by many parents. The newspapers will not dare to give reviews of your book. Millions of people will hate you for writing this book. In fact, no one will like you or your book except those who think. And you know how very few there are of this sort. My advice to you is to let me skip the description of my second best trick. The devil is sneaky in this one, isn't he? Ain't he? Straight up said, don't put what I'm about to tell you in here, or no one will read it except for those who think. And he said, we both know how few of those there are. And that one statement is, if you guys have been following my YouTube channel for a while, you'll know that every so often I come in hot on some random YouTuber in the spiritual world for saying some random ass spiritual YouTuber shit. Just for example, before I started this video, I'm not gonna name whose YouTube it was, because bad form, Peter. But it was talking about there being no duality in the fourth dimension. When we ascend to 4D, there's no more polarity, because polarity is just a man-made construct. Get the fuck out of here with that. Every spiritual guru YouTuber that's got a huge following, they all say the same thing. And one of those things is polarity doesn't exist when you get to the next dimension. And that, you guys, that could not be further from the truth. It could. Why would polarity exist here, but on none of the other infinite dimensions that exist? That makes absolutely no sense. The reason why there's a term across every religion and spirituality and paganism and certain shaman sects is this idea of as above, so below. The macrocosm can be found in the microcosm. The microcosm can be found in the macrocosm. Because everything exists on every plane with the same laws, that includes polarity, which is one of the laws. You guys, doesn't matter what plane you're on, polarity is there. You don't think just because you go to the fourth dimension, all of a sudden there's no such thing as darkness, or like there's no such thing as down, or there's no such thing as slow, right? They basically say that opposites don't exist. It's all one, which is true, but not in the fourth dimension. When you hit oneness, then it's all one. But you guys, everything extending from oneness is subjugated to these principles, polarity being one of them. That was a huge tangent for this is what happens when people don't think for themselves. And this is one of the ways the devil is saying that he gets people, by convincing them not to think for themselves. So even if you think you're doing good by following this god or following that god or not following a god at all, the danger is, where did that seed come from? Are you making choices because you want to make choices, or because everyone else is making that choice, and you assume since everyone else is doing it, then it must be the right way? And a lot of the time it is. A lot of the times people aren't stupid, and they're all doing the same thing because it is the right thing to do. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't take serious stock in what you're doing and why you're doing it. Otherwise, the devil will get you. We all know how sneaky the devil is. Jade Star, maybe when you go to the fourth dimension, your understanding is better to realize it's all the same. Absolutely, Jade Star. But that doesn't mean that polarity isn't happening while you're having those thoughts. You can still be like, oh, opposites are the same. That is true. But know that there are still opposites. Like the clarity of there being oneness is higher, yes, but it's tricky. I mean, all truths are half truths except for oneness, right? Everything has to be not true and true, because you have to have polarity. You have to have opposites, because opposites define each other. Sadness defines happiness. Hate defines love. Like And not as in they explain the opposite, but in they give reality, like literally define, like enclose each other. Because again, if you took away differences, you would have oneness. And we have this illusion of separation. So we're not actually perceiving oneness. We're perceiving the dualistic nature. But that happens on every plane. 1D, 2D, 3D, 4D, all the planes have all the same laws until you reach oneness. And then, of course, all the laws dissolve, and it's... I'm just going to keep going on with the... Um, Hermeticism doesn't exist. All right, we're going to keep going, you guys. How you guys doing? You holding up? You having a good live in there so far? Audio going good? All you guys listening to this on the podcast, I hope you took this opportunity to get some water. Okay. Well, I guess we might as well get back into it. Where are we at? Sorry if the persona of the devil changed this time, because the devil changes, I guess. I don't know what to tell you, man. I'm trying. But we will continue. Where are we at? Yada, yada, yada. Okay. Back to the questioner. So, for my own good, you wish to withhold the description of your second best trick. No one will like my book except those who think, eh? Very well. Go ahead and answer. You'll regret this, Mr. Earthbound. But the joke is on you. By this mistake of yours, you will divert attention from me to yourself. My co-workers, of whom there are millions, will forget about me and hate you for uncovering my methods. Never mind about me. Tell me all about this second best trick of yours with which you induce people to drift with you to hell. My second best trick is not second at all. It is my first. It is first because without it I never could gain control of the minds of the youths. Parents, school teachers, religious instructors, and many other adults unknowingly serve my purpose by helping me to destroy in children the habit of thinking for themselves. They go about their work in various ways, never suspecting that what they are doing to the minds of their children or the real cause of the children's mistakes. I can hardly believe you, Your Majesty. I have always believed that children's best friends were those closest to them, their parents, their school teachers, their religious instructors. Where would children go for dependable guidance if not those who have charge of them? That is where my cleverness comes in. That is the exact explanation of how I control 98% of the people of the world. I take possession of people during their youth, before they come into possession of their own minds by using those who are in charge of them. I especially need the help of those who give children their religious instruction, because it is here that I break down independent thought and start people on the habit of drifting, by confusing their minds with unprovable ideas concerning a world of which they know nothing about. It is here also that I plant in the minds of children the greatest of all fears, the fear of hell. I understand that it is easy for you to frighten children with threats of hell. But how do you continue to make them fear you and your hell after they grow up and learn to think for themselves? Children grow up, but they do not always learn to think for themselves. Once I capture the mind of a child through fear, I weaken that child's ability to reason and to think for himself. And that weakness goes with the child all through life. Is that not taking unfair advantage of a human by being contaminating in his mind before he comes into full possession of it? Everything is fair that I can use to further my ends. I have no foolish limitations of right and wrong. Might is right with me. I use every known human weakness to gain and keep control of the human mind. I understand your devilish nature. Let us go back to further discussion of your methods of inducing people to drift to hell here on earth. From your confession, I see that you take charge of children while their minds are young and pliable. Tell me more of how you use parents, teachers, and religious leaders to ensnare people into drifting. One of my favorite tricks is to coordinate the efforts of parents and religious instructors, so they work together in helping me to destroy their children's power to think for themselves. I use many religious instructors to undermine the courage and power of independent thought of children, by teaching them to fear me. But I use parents to aid the religious leaders in this great work of mine. How do parents help religious leaders destroy their children's power to think for themselves? I never heard of such a monstrosity. Well, I accomplished this through a very clever trick. I caused the parents to teach their children to believe as the parents do in connection with religion, politics, marriage, and other important subjects. In this way, as you can see, when I gain control of the mind of a person, I can easily perpetuate the control by causing that person to help me fasten it upon the minds of his offspring. In what other ways do you use the parents to convert children into drifters? I cause children to become drifters by following the example of their parents, most of whom I have already taken over and bound eternally to my cause. In some parts of the world, I gain mastery over children's minds and subdue their willpower in exactly the same way that men break and subdue animals of lower intelligence. As above, so below, right there. It makes no difference to me how a child's will is subdued, as long as it fears something. I will enter its mind through that fear and limit the child's power to think independently. It seems that you go out of your way to keep people from thinking. Yes, accurate thought is death to me. I'm going to repeat that one more time, you guys, because the devil says, in response to keeping people from thinking, he says, yes, accurate thought is death to me. I cannot exist in the minds of those who think accurately. Like, holy shit, you guys. I can't. This is like my personal conspiracy against all the New Age movements where they completely hate on thinking and like, oh, go off your intuition 100% of the time. Don't ever think like thinking's bad. Just go with the flow. Just be a drifter, in other words, right? It's just me, all right? I'm not saying this is how things are. I'm saying it sure as hell seems that way when you like start piecing together everything. And again, there's nothing wrong with using complete intuition and always going with the flow. I'm saying that you can't do it all the time. Sometimes go with the flow. Sometimes set the course for your flow and then get inside of it. Like build your own lazy river and then put the water, put your little scuba gear, put your little floaties, put your little floats if you can't swim in the water. That way you're drifting along your own creation, right? Your own path. Don't just grab your little floaties and fucking drift in someone else's lazy river, because that lazy river ain't gonna fit your lazy river if it's someone else's lazy river. You know what I mean? This is where active and passive come into play. Use them in tandem. Ooh, I think I just got a sell on Etsy. What a doo doo boo boo. Okay, I'll read a little more, then I'll take another break, see if you guys have comments or anything to say. Otherwise, carry on, shall we? Okay. I'll start with the question again. It seems that you go out of your way to keep people from thinking. The devil responds, yes, accurate thought is the death of me. I cannot exist in the minds of those who think accurately. I do not mind people thinking as long as they think in terms of fear, discouragement, hopelessness, and destructiveness. When they begin to think in constructive terms of faith, courage, hope, and definiteness of purpose, they immediately become allies of my opposition and are therefore lost to me. I am beginning to understand how you gain control of the minds of children through the help of their parents and religious instructors. But I do not see how the school teachers help you in this damnable work. School teachers help me gain control of the minds of children, not so much in what they teach the children as because of what they do not teach them. The entire public school system is so administered that it helps my cause by teaching children almost everything except how to use their own minds and think independently. I live in fear that someday some courageous person will reverse the present system of school teaching and deal my cause a death blow by allowing the students to become the instructors, using those who now serve as teachers only as guides to help the children establish ways and means of developing their own minds from within. When that time comes, the school teachers will no longer belong to my staff. Damn, I was gonna read more, but I gotta say something about that. That's crazy strong, you guys. That's crazy strong. And this cannot. If you guys are here listening to this podcast, you guys know for damn sure that that's not the first time you've heard something along the lines of the problem with the school system is it creates fucking machines that know how to obey commands. You get to school, they tell you, be quiet, get in line, stop moving. And then they make you stand in this stupid ass line for fucking 10 minutes before you can go into your class. Okay, now it's your turn. Now you can walk. Stop. Walk. Stop. Be quiet. Stop. Stay in line. Stop. Learn this material. Memorize this material. Regurgitate this material. Don't deviate from the material or we fail you and that's socially bad. You can't get jobs, yada, yada, yada. Do exactly what we tell you to do all the time and you will be successful, right? We're creating little fucking machines. We're incapable of independent thought. And we know this. Like I said, this can't be the first time you guys have heard this, but this Napoleon Hill had this conversation almost 100 years ago, and these people are talking about the same shit. This is why I like Napoleon Hill's writing so much. Think and Grow Rich isn't just about making money; it's about occult shit. And of course, you can use occult shit to do whatever you want. And when I say occult, I don't mean like witchy shit. It's just all occult means is hidden, right? Something that was tucked away from society. So your fucking journal that you hide under your bed is an occult journal because it's kept secret, right? It's not like whimsical and shit. You know what I mean? Not it is, but that's not what I mean by it. You know, it's practical. In other words, it's practical. It's useful, and it's like not shit for just the Harry Potter world. You guys, this is real, everyday, practical 101 how to be a human and how to not be a fucking slave and not be a machine and not fall prey to the devil. Because the devil operates in mysterious ways, does he not? But that being said, let's continue. Um, I was under the impression that the purpose of all schooling was to help children to think. Well, that may be the purpose of schooling, but the system in most of the schools of the world does not carry out the purpose. School children are taught not to develop and use their own minds, but to adopt and use the thoughts of others. This sort of schooling destroys the capacity for independent thought, except in a few rare cases where children rely so definitely upon their own willpower that they refuse to allow others to do their thinking. Accurate thought is the business of my opposition, not mine. What relationship, if any, has your opposition with the homes, the churches, and the schools? Your reply to this question should be interesting. Here is what I make use of some more of my clever tricks. I cause it to appear that everything done by the parents, the school teachers, and the religious instructors is being done by my opposition. This diverts attention from me while I manipulate the minds of the young. When religious instructors try to teach children the virtues of my opposition, they generally do so by frightening them with my name. That is all I ask of them. I kindle the flame of fear into proportions which destroy the child's power to think accurately. In the public schools, the teachers further my cause by keeping the children so busy cramming non essential information into their minds they have no opportunity to think accurately or to analyze correctly the things their instructors teach them. Fuck. This is like, this is gold. This is substantial reading material. That's what we'll call it. We'll call this substantial reading material. Carrying on. Do you claim for your cause all those who are bound by the habit of drifting? Do you claim for your cause all those who are bound by the habit of drifting? Uh, no. Drifting is only one of my tricks through which I take over the power of independent thought. Before a drifter becomes my permanent property, I must lead him on and ensnare him with another trick. I will tell you about this other trick after I finish describing my methods of converting people into drifters. Do you mean you have a method by which you can cause people to drift so far away from self determination that they can never save themselves? Oh, yes, a definite method. And it is so effective it never fails. Do I understand you? To claim your method is so powerful your opposition cannot reclaim who you have permanently ensnared through drifting. I claim just that. Do you think I would control so many people if my opposition could prevent me? Nothing can stop me from controlling people except people themselves. Nothing can stop me except the power of accurate thought. People who think accurately do not drift on any subject. They recognize the power of their own minds. Moreover, they take over the power and yield it to no person, to no influence. Go ahead and tell me more of the methods by which you cause people to drift to hell with you. I cause a lot of people to drift on every subject through which I can control independent thought and action. Take the subject of health, for example. I cause most people to eat too much food and the wrong sort of food. This leads to indigestion and destroys the power of accurate thought. The public schools and the churches taught children more about proper eating, they would do my cause irreparable damage. And now he speaks on marriage. It's written weird here. It says marriage in italics, which I'm guessing is just like this is his response on marriage. I cause men and women to drift into marriage without plan or purpose designed to convert the relationship into harmony. He is one of my most effective methods of converting people into the habit of drifting. I cause married people to bicker and nag one another over money matters. I cause them to quarrel over the bringing up of their children. I engage them in unpleasant controversies over their intimate relationships and in disagreements over friends and social activities. I keep them so busy finding fault with one another that they never have time to do anything else long enough to break the habit of drifting. This is on occupation. I teach people to become drifters by causing them to drift out of school into the first job they can find, with no definite aim or purpose except to make a living. Through this trick, I keep millions of people in fear of poverty all their lives. Through this fear, I lead them slowly but surely onward until they reach the point beyond which no individual has ever broken the drifting habit. On savings, I cause people to spend freely and to save sparingly or not at all until I take complete control over them. Until I take complete control over them through their fear of poverty. On the environment, I cause people to drift into inharmonious and unpleasant environments in the home, in their places of occupation, in their relationships with relatives and acquaintances, and to remain there until I can claim them through the habit of drifting. This one's about dominating thoughts. I cause people to drift into the habit of thinking negative thoughts. This leads to negative acts and involves people in controversies and fills their minds with fear, thus paving the way for me to enter and control their minds. When I move in, I do so by appealing to people through negative thoughts which they believe to be their own. I plant the seeds of negative thoughts in the minds of people through the pulpit, the newspapers, the movie pictures, the radio, and all other popular methods of appeal to the mind. I cause people to allow me to do their thinking for them because they are too lazy and too indifferent to think for themselves. So I conclude from what you're saying that drifting and procrastination are the same thing. Is this true? Yes, that is correct. Any habit by which causes one to procrastinate, to put off reaching a definite decision, leads to the habit of drifting. Is man the only creature who drifts? Yes. All other creatures move in response to definite laws of nature. Man alone defies nature's laws and drifts when he wills. Everything outside of the minds of men is controlled by my opposition. By laws so definite that drifting is impossible. I control the minds of men solely because of their habit of drifting, which is only another way of saying that I control the minds of men only because they neglect or refuse to control and use their own. Need to take a quick breather. I knock over. Whew. It's somewhat of a long chapter, you guys. Can someone let me know where we're at? In time. Where are we at in time? What does it all mean, Basil? My goodness, you guys have been busy in the chat room, have you not? I might not read through all of these because um, Michelle Ray, good point. Michelle says, seems to me that God is the one who wishes a lack of independent thinking, at least as is written in most religious texts. I believe you. Not I believe you, but I agree with you. Most of what I get from everything is obey. At least most mainstream religions. Obey or go to hell. Sorry, I'm reading you guys' comments. Anyone in the podcast, my bad. Just pretend there's some. Oh, there is some music going in the background. Just jam to the music in the background. That's like an intermission, with tasty music. Ooh, you guys have some really good conversations going on. I'm jealous. I wish I was there. Ooh, all y'all hit the like button so that this live can get broadcasted in front of people. so that new people can come in, like not from Man of Letters, but from all walks of the YouTube, of the things that happen in the waves and space and shit. How you guys doing with the music, by the way? Is that chill? You guys enjoying the music? Is it a little too much? Is it like, I get it, Keith, but no? Is it like, ooh, I like this. It's kind of tasty. It has like a nice little dynamic to the conversation with the devil. I feel like I'm in a Pixar lobby or something. Like Buzz Lightyear should turn the corner. Or Monsters Inc. All right, y'all. I'm going to kick off the next portion of the live. We don't have much left. What's up, little snoozer? Wait, he wants to see his people. Before we start, you guys, Atlas would like to say something to you guys. Atlas, damn, you look spooky as hell in the video. Damn, Atlas, you little spookster. You little spookster, Atlas. Say what's up to everybody. Say hi. Nope, don't grab the fire. Sweetie pie. Sweetie, sweetie, sweetie. Sweetie, sweetie. Sweetie, sweetie. There you go. Yeah. Take him. Take the human. Take him. Take the child. Ooh. All right, see you guys in a little bit. Yeah, that was baby boy Atlas. Little Atlas. All right, you guys, we are kicking it off. Kicking it off. Let me find where we left off. All the newcomers, thank you for joining in. Where are we? Okay. This is getting to be pretty deep stuff for a mere human being. Let us get back. Ah, shit. Oh, yeah. Let us get back to the discussion of something less abstract. Please tell me how this drifting habit affects people in the everyday walks of life, and tell me in the terms of the average person. Tell me in terms that the average person can understand. I would prefer to keep this interview up among the stars. No doubt you would. That would save you from being exposed, but let us come back to Earth. Tell me what drifting is doing to us as a nation here in the United States. Frankly, I may as well tell you that I hate the United States as only the devil can hate. That is interesting. What is the cause of this hatred? The cause was born on July 4th, 1776, when 56 men signed a document which destroyed my chances of controlling the nation. You know that document as the Declaration of Independence. Had it not been for the influence of that damnable document, I would now have a dictator running the country, and I would stop this right to free speech and independent thought that it is threatening my rule on earth. Am I to understand from what you were saying that nations controlled by self-appointed dictators belong in your camp? There are no self-appointed dictators. I appoint them all. Moreover, I manipulate them and divert them in their work. Nations run by my dictators know that what they want and take it by force. Look what I've done through Mussolini in Italy. Look what I am doing through Hitler in Germany. Look what I am doing through Stalin in Russia. My dictators run those nations for me because the people have been subdued to the habit of drifting. My dictators do no drifting. That is why they rule for me the millions of people under their control. I'll close my window 1 second. Ooh, that frankincense smells amazing. Um, what would happen if you guys got to remember this was actually written during World War II? So there's going to be a lens of World War II dialogue. I'm assuming that's going to be popping up pretty soon. So, what would happen if Mussolini, Stalin, and Hitler turned traitors and disavowed you and your rule? My bad, I haggard that question. What would happen if Mussolini, Stalin, and Hitler turned traitors and disavowed you and your rule? Well, that will not happen because I have them too well bribed. I am paying each of them with the sop of his own vanity by making him believe he is acting on his own account. That is another trick of mine. Let us come back to the United States and learn something of what you are doing to convert people into the habit of drifting. Right. Right now, I am paving the way for a dictatorship by sowing the seeds of fear and uncertainty in the minds of people. Through whom are you carrying on your work? Mainly through the president. I am destroying his influence with the people by causing him to drift on the question of a working agreement between employers and their employers. If I can induce him to drift for another year, he will be so thoroughly discredited I can hand over the country to a dictator. If the president continues to drift, I will paralyze personal freedom in the United States just as I have destroyed it in Spain, Italy, Germany, and England. What you say leads me to the conclusion that drifting is a weakness which inevitably ends in failure, whether among individuals or nations. Is that your claim? Drifting is the most common cause of failure in every walk of life. I can control anyone who I can induce to form the habit of drifting on any subject. The reason for this is twofold. First, the drifter is just so much putty in my hands to be molded into whatever pattern I choose, because drifting destroys the power of individual initiative. Second, the drifter cannot help from my opposition. Second, the drifter cannot get help from my opposition because the opposition is not attracted to anything so soft and useless. Ouch. Here I am thinking that something's keeping the opposition from saving the people who are being taken by the devil. Turns out that the people that are being taken by the devil are just too soft of mind, and the opposition doesn't care to save them from the devil because what are they going to do with them? They have no mind of their own. They're practically useless. Plot twist. I have always understood that money was the root of all evil, that the poor and the meek would inherit heaven, while the wealthy would pass into your hands. What have you to say of that claim? Men, men who know how to get the material things of life generally know how to keep out of the hands of the devil as well. The ability to acquire things is contagious. Drifters acquire nothing except that which no one else wants. If more people had definite aims and stronger desires for material and spiritual riches, I would have fewer victims. I assume from what you say that you do not claim fellowship with the industrial leaders. Evidently, they are not friends of yours. Friends of mine? I tell you what sort of friends of mine they are. They have belted the entire country with good roads, thus bringing into close communion the people of both city and country. They have converted ores into steel, with which they have built the skeletons of great skyscrapers. They have harnessed electrical power and converted it into 1,000 uses, all designed to give man time to think. They have provided through the automobile personal transportation to the humblest citizens, thus giving to everyone the freedom of travel. They have provided every home with instantaneous news of what has happened in all parts of the world through the aid of the radio. They have read libraries in every city, town, and hamlet and have filled them with books giving to all who read a complete outline of the most useful knowledge mankind has gathered from its experience. They have given the humblest citizen the right to express his own opinion on any subject, anytime, anywhere, without fear or molestation. And they have seen to it that every citizen may help make his own laws, levy his own taxes, and manage his own country through the ballot. These are but some of the things the industrial leaders have done to give every citizen the privilege of becoming a non drifter. Do you think these men have helped my cause? Do you think these men have helped my cause? Who are some of the present day non drifters over whom you have no control? I have control over no non drifter, present or past. I control the weak, not those who think for themselves. Go ahead and describe a typical drifter. Give your description point by point so I can recognize a drifter when I see him. Well, the first thing you will recognize about a drifter is his total lack of a major purpose in life. He will be conspicuous by his lack of self confidence. He will never accomplish anything requiring thought and effort. He spends all he earns and more too if he can get credit. He will be sick or ailing from some real or imaginary cause and call into high heaven if he suffers the least physical pain. He will have little or no imagination. Oh my goodness, this goes on forever. Um, he will lack enthusiasm and initiative to begin anything he is not forced to undertake, and he will plainly express his weakness by taking the line of least resistance whenever he can do so. Huh, that's one of the things I hate. Not ooh, that just came out. That I really don't like about the spiritual transition, the spiritual new age world. Even though I fucking practically exist in it, at least here.